Welcome to LFC Transfer Hub. Arne Slot Liverpool contract silence tells us a lot, and Jurgen Klopp is the reason why. Second news is Liverpool sent clear Trent Alexander-Arnold return verdict after brutal transfer meeting. Third news is Arne Slot handed major selection headache as two Liverpool players miss training. Now details. During a grim October, Arne Slot responded with mild incredulity when asked if he would be holding talks about a new contract anytime soon. "That is the last question I was expecting," he smiled. "Let us first start to win again, that's where my main focus is." The end of October, Liverpool have won 9 out of 19 games across all competitions, drawing 6 and losing 4. It seems that number of victories is not enough to precipitate negotiations over a deal to replace the one that runs out at the end of next season. And it is safe not to expect any contract talk anytime soon, not when Manchester United are lording it over you in the table. But Slot's contract situation is interesting. More specifically, the fact that it has yet to be extended is interesting. There were reasons many people expected Slot and Liverpool to make a fresh agreement last summer. Winning the Premier League, the Dutchman had enjoyed an excellent first season, and there was, of course, a precedent. After Jurgen Klopp's first season at the club, one that actually began in October and brought no honours, he signed a new 6-year contract, to the background noise of fulsome praise from the ownership. When you have an individual of Jurgen's quality in the building, it makes perfect sense to secure that person for the long term. To not do so would be irresponsible, declared a statement from principal owner John W. Henry, chairman Tom Werner, and Fenway Sports Group president Mike Gordon. The paean to Jurgen went on. "His Klopp's leadership will be critical to everything we hope to achieve," continued the statement. "The ideas and plans he has for the football infrastructure excite us. We believe it benefits the organisation to have Jurgen committed to Liverpool for a sustained period to make sure he is here to oversee this development. Now, I might be mistaken, but I cannot recall owners' tributes to Slot being so lavish after his title win. There was a brief hug with Henry, after which Slot said he could not remember what the American had said to him. There has certainly been no contract, and there is unlikely to be while Liverpool are outside the top 4, and while a section of the fan base seem unconvinced Slot is the man for the long term. Which is harsh. His second season is not going ultra smoothly, for sure, but essentially, Slot is finally feeling the heat for, well, not being Klopp. At this stage of the season that followed the 2019-20 title-winning season, Liverpool were only 4 points better off than they are now. They had 40 points from 23 matches and would eventually finish third, with 69 points, 17 points adrift of winners Manchester City. Again, I might be mistaken, but there was no clamour for Klopp to go. Slot's Liverpool have played 30 matches across all competitions this season, winning 17, drawing 6 and losing 10. In Klopp's 2020-21 season, his team won 16 of their first 30 matches across all competitions, drew 9 and lost 5. Not too dissimilar, but, although I again might be mistaken, there was no clamour for Klopp to go. Rightly so, because these should not be sackable numbers. Klopp had more credit with the owners at that time, but after last season, Slot should also have plenty. But as understandable as it is after the less than stellar form, the silence on his contract might suggest he hasn't. Second news is Liverpool sent clear Trent Alexander-Arnold return verdict after brutal transfer meeting. Liverpool cannot entertain the idea of bringing Trent Alexander-Arnold back to Anfield following a difficult spell at Real Madrid, according to former Reds midfielder Danny Murphy. The England international was allegedly informed by Real manager Alvaro Arbeloa that he does not feature in his plans for the future and is free to seek a move away this summer. The right-back arrived in the Spanish capital just half a season ago, but things have not worked out as he'd hoped. Alexander-Arnold made the controversial decision to leave his boyhood club for a new adventure with Real ahead of the 2025-2026 season. He signed for £10 million ahead of the Club World Cup last summer, but injury problems have restricted him to just 11 appearances across all competitions during the campaign. Arbeloa has recently been deploying Feed Valverde at right-back, while he also has the experienced Danny Carvajal available, once again, after recovering from injury. Spanish media reports indicate Arbeloa has held talks with Alexander-Arnold to clarify that he does not form part of his long-term vision, although that claim has subsequently been disputed. That has sparked speculation around a potential return to the Premier League, but ex-Liverpool midfielder Murphy insists a comeback to Anfield is out of the question. "No, I think that would be a difficult one to sell to the fans," Murphy told best betting sites when asked if Alexander-Arnold would be welcomed back at Liverpool. Also, not many players go back to a former club and succeed. The succession plan has to be about moving forward and evolving the team. So no, I don't think that would work. Despite the controversial nature of his exit last year, Alexander-Arnold was handed a heartfelt send-off from the Liverpool supporters following his 354th match in May. He deserved it. I am very happy for him and everyone in and around the club that things worked out the way they did, head coach Arne Slot said at the time. It went brilliantly when our fans are together. How brilliant they were before the Tottenham game, during the Tottenham game and afterwards. I don't think you see as many special celebrations as you saw 4 weeks ago. I don't think you see many celebrations like we had them today. It's no surprise to me that they, the fans, were brilliant again today as they were throughout the whole season, as they were towards Trent. Alexander-Arnold is presently out with a thigh injury, following a hamstring issue, casting doubt not only over his future at Real, but also his prospects of securing a spot in England's World Cup squad this summer. Tuchel omitted him from the squad in November's break, while he now faces a significant challenge to be included, even if fully fit. It's my job now to make contact with everyone, players such as Trent, Tuchel said at the time after selecting Alexander-Arnold's former Liverpool teammate, Jael Quansah, instead. Players that are on our long list, 55, 60 players, to reach out to them and be in touch with them, explain to them why they were not here. Explain to them what they have to do, where they can improve. Can they even do something, or is it just a choice? So this is my job in the next weeks and months. Third news is Arne Slot handed major selection headache as 2 Liverpool players missed training. Ibrahima Konate and Joe Gomez were both absent from training on Tuesday to hand Liverpool boss Arne Slot a potential selection headache ahead of the Champions League clash against Qarabag. The Reds held a lunchtime session at the AXA training centre in Kirkby in preparation for Wednesday's final opening stage match at Anfield, where victory will ensure a top 8 finish and direct progress to the last 16. Gomez limped off during the first half of the 3-2 Premier League defeat at Bournemouth on Saturday, having suffered a hip injury when colliding with goalkeeper Alisson Becker in the process of attempting to keep out the opening goal from Evanilson. Konate, meanwhile, has missed Liverpool's last 2 games and remains on compassionate leave following the death of his father. With teenager Giovanni Liani out for the season after ACL surgery, it left Virgil van Dijk as the only available senior centre-back during the training session. Wataru Endo came off the bench at Bournemouth to play the majority of the game alongside Van Dijk and is now on standby to again deputise, with Andy Robertson another possible option. There was, though, some better injury news for Reds boss Arne Slot, with Federico Chiesa taking part in the session, having missed the last 2 games after limping out of the warm-up for last week's Champions League game at Marseille. Connor Bradley and Alexander Isak remained absent as they continue their rehabilitation from long-term injury.